Hi there. This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation, an exercise that I do each morning, just a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can find a link to a copy of down in the description. I recommend the hardcover edition. I also use this time to reflect on the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met, a plan for the coming day, and I ready myself for death. But before I do any of that, I like to read a poem. I'm getting a late start today. I actually slept in 15 minutes. As a result, it's just now exactly 4:59, just turning 5 a.m. right now. But nevertheless, I'm going to not put off for another day the reading of Ode to a Nightingale, one of John Keats' masterpieces. I have never read this poem. I've known of it. I don't know what vocabulary is in here that I don't know. I'll stumble and try my best. It might take us a couple of days to go through this, to read it, study it, read it again, maybe 2 or 3 times before we can get it right, or more. All right, here we go. Ode to a Nightingale. My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense, as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. 1 minute passed, and Leith wards had sunk. Leith, of course, being the river that people would drink from in the underworld, that would cause them to forget the past, their lives as they died, after they died. 'Tis not through envy or thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou, light-winged dryad, so highlight that word. There's a word I don't know. Dryad, god or goddess of some sort, of the trees, in some melodious plot of beechen green and shadows numberless, singest of summer in full-throated ease. Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and proverbial and provincial song, and sunburnt mirth. Oh, for a beakerful of the warm south, full of the true, the blushful hippocrane, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim, and purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee faded away into the forest dim. Fade far away, dissolve, and quite forget what thou among the leaves hast never known, the weariness, the fever, and the fret, here, where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad last gray hairs, where youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies, but where but to think is to be full of sorrow, and laden-eyed despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine them beyond tomorrow. Love with a capital L. Away, away, for I fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, P-A-R-D-S, I don't know what that is, but on the viewless wings of poesy. I used to know what poesy is. I think it's the spirit of poetry, maybe. Oh, poetry is an old word for poetry, right? Though the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with the tender is the night. Oh, I wonder if that's where that comes from, tender is the night. And haply the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry phase, I don't know. But here there is no light, save what from heaven is with the breezes blown, through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways. I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in calmed darkness guess each sweet wherewith the seasonable month endows, the grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn, and the pastoral eglantine, I don't know what that is, Fast fading violets covered up in leaves, and mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose, full of dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer eves. Darkling I listen, and for many a time I have been half in love with easeful death with a capital D. Called him soft names in many a mused rhyme, to take into the air my quiet breath. Now more than ever seems it rich to die, to cease upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still wouldest thou sing, and I have ears in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Thou wast not born for death, immortal bird, with a capital B. No hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I hear this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the same self-song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth, the capital, of course with a capital R. I think it's maybe Ruth from the Bible. When sick for home, she stood in tears amid the alien corn. That same, yeah, of course it is Ruth from the, picking the corn. The same that oft times hath charmed magic's casements. I don't know what a casement is, I used to know. Opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairy lands forlorn. Forlorn, the very word is like a bell, to toll me back from thee to my soul self. Adieu, the fancy cannot cheat so well, and she is famed to do, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu, thy plaintive anthem fades, past the near meadows, over the still stream, up the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley glades. Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or sleep? Okay, well, I got through the first time. I won't say I understood that. I get that it's about the song of the nightingale and various sentiments related. I came across maybe a half dozen or more new vocabulary that I'll have to look up, between now and then, tomorrow morning, and then we'll read it again. Sometimes poems go like that, right? It takes multiple passes to really get them. I might even look it up on the internet and say, for an explanation of what John Keats' Ode to a Nightingale means. Sometimes that's a help too. I did the same thing with Ode on a Grecian Urn, and that really helped. Okay, let's begin. Last night and yesterday. Slept all right last night. Yesterday was a good and very fulfilling day. Got a lot done. Just had a fun day. There's nothing to say in terms of challenge in particular. Although my mom kept calling me, leaving me crazy messages. Shouldn't laugh, but what to do. That was a challenge, but I found a new way to handle it, which is that I don't answer the phone. I call her. My goal, my filial duty at this point is to be in touch and to be there for her if she needs me, not to be there to listen to her mean words or her attempts to hurt. I don't have to listen to that. But if she calls up to say mean stuff, then I'll just let it go to voicemail. If she calls up because she needs help, then I'll call it right back. I'll pick up or call it right back and go into action. That's the way to handle this. Okay, today, it's a Sunday. I have two things that I really want to know. One thing that I want to do. One thing only that I want to do. I want to prepare this book for a young man that contacted me to send it to him. I promised months ago. As is so often the case, it takes me months to get these books out. I have a short backlog, but it takes me months. And then I have another one over there to get ready for someone else. And that's the last one. I don't have any more. I'll have to order a new batch. I better do that today. That's all. That's all the only thing I want to do. The rest is just icing on the top of the cake. Am I ready for death? Oh, I didn't do the Good Life Creed, did I? Yeah, real quick. 8 objectives. To be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and then to keep my balance. I haven't done this in a while, but let's go ahead and keep track of the numbers. Let's see if I can do the full 35. 35 principles, and by the way, these objectives and principles are listed in my book, Going Alone, in the chapter titled The Good Life. Here we go. War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil. Atomic principle, principle of nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, principle of family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be born, the feast of offal, distraction, agency and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and always being ready. I think I know the one I missed. Look at that. 34. I think I forgot to say the season of philosophy. Don't know. Missed one. I was feeling confident, but clearly my confidence is misplaced. That's what I get for rushing, right? I'm rushing the whole time. It's because I'm behind schedule. I slept in 15 minutes. I don't know why it's not on a schedule. Well, I am on a little bit of a schedule because these dogs will demand their breakfast at the same time every morning, and whether I'm ready to do that, deliver that breakfast or not. So I'll stop for now. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never